Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Mob Vlog. Here we are on June 8th, 2022. It's Rednesday. Welcome in everybody. And if you're new here, this channel, we talk about Chicago outfit and Chicago outfit history. So if you're new, be sure to hit the like button, hit prescribe. Welcome back, guys. It's Mob Vlog. Hey, Red, how you doing today?
I'm fine. It's hot here, and I'm fine. It's hot by you too, though.
It's getting warm out here, but you know it's the desert. It's to be expected, you know. I hear that it's muggy where you are. You know what I mean? Hot and muggy is just awful. I had a couple people.
Air conditioning on. I'm living in the air conditioning today.
Hopefully, this echo will go away here in a second. I think we just tuned in a little too quickly here after the intro. But hello, everybody! It is good to see you all here, and we're going to jump into this today. If you're new here, we always do some intros and hellos. James Channon, Elijah, Don Ciccio, Di Porzalo, Bobby Bag of Donuts, Michael Graham, Scott H. Van Pastor, man. It's good to see all of you, including Outfit Boss, Luminous Grin, Keith Helton, Big Tuna 82. Guys, thanks for coming in. Southside from Dave Maliska. Welcome in, Dave. It's good to see you. New face. I always like the faces. Frank from Germany made it. Oh my gosh, everybody. Frank from Germany. We have our own Frank the German on the channel, and this is Frank the German. What the hell? We can't have a Frank the German? We got to have a Frank the German.
Why not?
Frank, I got your email. I'm sorry I haven't written you back yet, buddy, but thanks for writing. I look forward to seeing you next time you're in town. Be sure to reach out before you come so we can set something up. Brian Hughes, all of you guys, it's good to see you. Let's get into this, and let's get started. So number one, because not everybody knows. I mean, most of you know who Red Wemette is, but not everybody does. Holman Sanders, he knows who Red is. Holman's a nice guy. But Red, what is your what was the involvement that you had with the Grand Avenue crew? Can you tell me in a nutshell for those who don't know?
When I first started out, after I came from the South Side by Jimmy Coutura, Kurt brought me to American Bonding, and that's where the whole crew used to hang out at American Bonding. And Milwaukee Phil was there, Joey Lombardo was there, a lot of people were there. Tony Spilotro was there, a lot of people were there. That was in 1968. Later on, that crew used to meet over by Jimmy Kozos in what we called the Spot or Grandin Ogden area. There was a social club on the corner of Jimmy Kozos' building at that time, right next to the laundromat. It's not there anymore, but there was a social club there. The door was always kind of open. I only went in there a couple times. Usually I spent the time over at the Spot, but the crew itself was quite a crew. Marshall Cafado became part of it when he got out of prison, and he was assigned to me. And across the street was Jimmy Kozos' father-in-law, Phil Amato. And I think that was 613 Racine Avenue. And that was like a 3-flat apartment building. In the back, there was 2 apartments above a garage. And that's where Dick Hoyt and Alva Johnson Rogers lived in separate apartments there. And I used to go back there every so often, down the alley.
Okay, so then we looked at the Spot just the other week. And in Street Stories, Anthony DiMartini did a video about it, showed that telephone pole that was walled in and all that, right?
Yeah, and that building wasn't there. The building behind it was not there. That was a used car lot. He had chop shop cars in there at the time where he changed the VIN numbers and everything. That was, and it had lights all the way around it like a car lot, right? But now it's got a building there. So he also had a produce stand on, Jimmy did, a produce stand on Ogden Avenue, across the street.
Barnyard, hi Adam and Red, from the outhouses in Kentucky to the bright lights of Las Vegas and the nasty, awful, humid Florida. Red lives in.
Easy on me, guy. It's air conditioned where I'm at.
Catherine Guerrero, hope that you and James are having a good day. Jeff Hunter, it's good to see all of you guys. Good question here. North Side Drive said, how were the crew? How was it structured? At least when you were
when I was there, well, it changed over a period of time. But when I was at the end, Joey was in prison. Joey Lombardo was in prison, and everything was in disarray. I would say Louis Ebley was in charge of the crew. He left it to him because he was a May guy. Later on, well, Louis died in 1987. Louis the Mooch, Louis Ebley.
Right.
He died in 87 of pancreatic cancer. And then it was kind of up for grabs. I really think the boss was Jimmy Kozo until Joey got out. But in the very beginning, Milwaukee Phil was the head of the crew, Grand Avenue crew. And eventually he passed away in prison, I believe in 1971. And he passed the baton to Joey Lombardo. So Joey Lombardo was the man to deal with. Later on, Joey became street boss, where he was up more or less to decide problems for other people. Like the time Frank Collada got in an argument with Louis Ebley, and he might have been higher in rank, Ebley, but he couldn't fight. Right. Frank Collada could fight, so I guess Joey Lombardo handed him a brick.
A brick, so
he could hit Frank in the head with the brick to win. And he asked him, I believe he asked him, you know the story better than I do, tell it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what you're saying. And I guess that if Joey Aiuppa had been in town, he'd have given the okay. It wouldn't have been any fighting.
No, Ebley would have gone to Aiuppa, and that would have been the end of it. But he went to Joey Lombardo instead. Right.
So, because I think Joey said something to him like, just be lucky.
Oh yeah, he could have had you whacked in 2 seconds, but the reason he didn't was because Aiuppa was out of town. He came to me, and I wanted to make sure you guys settle all your arguments.
Right. So Red, on our thumbnail here to come in, we did put up a Richard's Bar on the front of it, and Benny Fazio's wondered, did you ever stop in there, Red, or was that after your?
Never stopped in there. There was a restaurant, Las Scolas, I believe.
Scaro.
And I never stopped in there either. Pardon?
Las Scaro?
I thought it was Las Scolas.
I thought it was pronounced Las Scaro. But then again, I don't know. Scaro's abroad, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. That Don Ciccio di Porzalo probably can straighten me out on this. If you guys are just coming in, hit the like button. I can't believe there's 120 people in here and there's only like 30 likes. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. Michael Henneman, Richard's Bar is where you can play whatever you want, except all the songs are Frank Sinatra. Ha ha. Oh, the jukebox is loaded with just Frank Sinatra music, huh? I went to Richard's Bar, Red, when I was in Chicago.
Yes,
I did. I went to Richard's Bar, and it was fun. I even put a little video together. It was part of the commemorative tour videos. You want to see it?
Go ahead, put it. Yes, please.
All right, let's roll this for the next minute or two. Check it out. This is Richard's Bar in Chicago. They were super nice. Everybody in the bar was super nice, and we even met this little Joe Pesci impressionist while we were in there. Totally. No, I'm gonna say, watch the video. This is great. Watch. We wasted absolutely no time and headed straight to Richard's Bar the first night. I just got money.
Yeah, my money. Sacred money.
Let's go into Richard's Bar. Richard's Bar was a pretty cool place to hang out. Of course, we met some interesting characters.
Funny like how? Like I'm a clown? Like I'm here to fucking amuse you? No, you said it. You said it. Yeah, that was good. That was a good night. That was a lot of fun.
It looks like it's more of a tourist attraction now.
You know, there were some tourists that came in and out of there, I thought, you know, but then again, I don't know. You know, it's downtown Chicago. You got people coming in and out of everything. So
it's not really downtown, but it's close.
But you know, it was
I never went there. I never went there because I didn't go there to drink. When I came into the neighborhood, I came in for a reason. I didn't go there to, you know, have too many drinks and get the 13th district police officers to arrest me.
Do you have to know someone to get into Richards, or can anyone go? No, Cindy, anybody can go. But if you're there and you got to use the restroom, give them my name at the door and they give you a better seat. You'd love Richards, Red. You could still smoke in there. You know, the old drop ceiling dive bar. It's all pressed tin. You don't see stuff like that anymore. I mean, it's quite gorgeous.
Every one of the outfit bars had either copper or tin up on the ceiling.
Right.
And it was all in, what do they call it, etched or embroidered or whatever. It was different levels of different things, patterns on it.
Right.
Billy Kent's place, all Billy Kent's places were like that.
Benny Fazio. That neighborhood's all yuppified nowadays. Joey the Clown would wonder what the hell happened to the neighborhood if he was still around.
That's kind of the point I was making, where I said it's a tourist attraction.
Misty, Benny Fazio was the name of Sopranos character. Coincidence? I don't think so. Benny Fazio. Yeah, that's a good name. It's like Vinny Boombots, right? Isn't that a Sopranos character too?
I believe it is.
It's a mob bar, Randy Rhodes said. So here's the thing. I never even heard of Richard's Bar, and until we were going to Chicago, and then my friend Art told me, he's like, "Oh, we got to go to Richard's Bar." I said, "Well, what the hell is Richard's Bar?" He said, "No, that's the place. We got to go there." I said, "Who's there?" He said, "Oh, let's just go. Trust me." You know, we took an Uber over there all the way from Rosemont. Anyway, it was it was
a
fun.
good drive. That's a good drive.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. It was a hell of an Uber ride. Anyway, we were in there, and I started, video a little, around. And I asked the bartender, "Is it okay if I video, a couple things?" And he's like, "Just don't video any people in here." I was like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Well, it's just that there's not any smoking allowed, and there's a couple off duty, patrolmen, whatever." Oh, hey man, listen, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble or anything. I even, the couple faces that did end up in the video, I even blurred them out, including the bartender. And so, well, I don't want anybody getting all, but you can go anyway. anyway, after a couple drinks, we're having a good time and all, and I got a little carried away with the camera and I kind of panned past the bar, and a group of guys at the end didn't like that, and one big bald guy came running over to me. And when I say running, I don't mean like charging me, but he was walking quite quickly, let's just say. And then he kind of got up in my space and was like, that better not end up anywhere. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm like, I didn't mean to. I was like, I didn't even have it on at the time. Anyway, yeah. So,
did you tell him you were great at editing?
Yeah. So I didn't know anything about it. Then the next day, I went and saw Joe Colada, because I joke a little, but he joked Colada, and I love that line. It's hilarious. It's so funny. The first time Joe said that to me, I laughed. I cracked up. So the next day he said, oh, yeah, you went down to Richard's bar? He said, so did you run into Albie Venna down there? What? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, that's where I'm sorry. Art, if you're listening to this, Art, don't ever ask me to go to bars with you ever again, all right? Taking me to mob hangouts, man. Unfreaking believable. Hit the like, everybody. If you just come in and smash the like button. If you don't know how to get to the like button, Google it. Somebody can find out how to get to it. If you're on a television, push the up arrow. Sometimes that'll bring up the bottom menu, and then you can pick the like. So, so Jim Magnifici. So I brought the name up. As recent as 19, Venna is allegedly said to run the Grand and Ogden crew. Other alleged members are Robert Panazzo and Fred Carlup. I don't know these names, guys, so I'm just reading what's on the screen. Please.
I know all of them. I know all three names.
And I'll tell you what else. Ryan Brown sent me an article. He sent me an article this morning on my phone. And it's a Scott Bernstein article about the current crew. And that's exactly that. Robert, they call him. It's just in the article. I'm just reading this article. I don't know if this shit's true or not, by the way, guys. So just anybody can look this up online and read it. So it's not like I'm saying something that's not public.
Well, Scott Bernstein wrote it. He's kind of a historical person.
Is he?
Scott Bernstein, yeah. He's pretty good on the mob.
But he says, A.K. Bobby Pinocchio, says the article, he was close to Lombardo in the article. But anyway, I guess the article goes on to say that they got in some trouble, I guess, about 8 or 9 years ago. And it was for murder, I guess. So
yes, that's true. They
were
all young guys when I was there.
It was robbing drug houses. That's what it is. Robbing drug houses and arson and murder and whatnot. Anyway, I don't know anything about that and what that might be today, Ryan, or what it might not be. I don't know. And really, Red, he's not been involved for how many years now?
Oh, since 1988.
Yeah, like 40 years almost. So, we know some things, from what involvement from the research that I've done and stories I've heard and Red's firsthand knowledge. So talk about Aiuppa. What do you know about Aiuppa? Russ Jackson's really interested.
Well, he was from Cicero, and he spent a great deal of time when it was open at the Town Hotel, which is on Cermak Road. And I only saw him one time, and that was at the MGM Lounge, Nicky's MGM Lounge on Cicero Avenue.
Right.
Nicky was Greek. I believe it was Nicky Kokinis was his name. He was Greek, and they were famous for their Greek chicken. They had Greek chicken. It was really good. But he was sitting at a table not far from me, and I could hear them talking, but I didn't pay attention to what they were saying. I was there just having a meal. That's all. I owned a place down the street called the Club Cicero at 1247 South Cicero Avenue at the time.
Street stories. Anthony DiMartini's coming in late. He said, sorry, I'm late listening at work. That's okay, Anthony. We already talked all our shit about you earlier. John McShane, want to hear about the Accardo killing Giancana? Can we get Calabrese back on? Yeah, I'll ask him to come back. I think he's in Chicago right now, but I'll ask him. Bobby Bag of Donuts, Diamato's and the Bari. Great places.
The bakery, Diamato's Bakery. Yeah.
Bari grocery store at Grand and Ogden's my favorite.
They were all family stores all the way along there.
Well, everything was family owned and everything was, knit like that. So, okay. So Keith Helton, Frank Collada was a close associate of the C Note crew, right? I never heard anything about him being part of the C Notes. Not from my understanding did he ever say that he was
he didn't want to be part of any gang.
Nothing.
He wanted to be his own man.
Nothing. And him and Tony Spilotro, they had each other's backs when they went to the different schools together, Montefiore and the school for the bad boys, I guess. And speaking of Joseph Collada, speaking of Frank Collada and Tony, hey Joseph Collada, it's good to see you in here today, Joe. I hope that you're doing well. I hope you're doing well and having a great day.
How you doing, Joe? Good to see you.
Brian Gibson. It's pronounced D'Amatos. D'Amatos. Sorry, did I pronounce that? D'Amatos.
D'Amatos.
It's spelled D'Amatos, but D'Amatos. Okay, so D'Amatos.
D'Amatos.
Everything in Chicago is different. It's not Villa Venice. It's Villa Venice.
Correct. Well, you can tell when somebody's from out of town by the way they pronounce things.
Bobby Bag of Donuts said, "Hi, Joe Collada."
Okay.
Everyone, Keith Helton, Holman Sanders. Aiuppa's nose was a beak. Matt Gods, you must not have been listening to the earlier episode where we had Anthony DiMartini on. His nose was like a can opener. It looked like a can opener, You take the can and you get... It does. It's like he came down. But I guess he was a boxer when he was younger, as Joey Aiuppa.
They all were.
God,
Joey Lombardo was a boxer when he was younger. They all boxed when they were younger. They all boxed. Every one of them that I know of.
Holman Sanders. Hi, Joe. How's it hanging? It's long and heavy, hard to carry. As you get older, the back too starts to, Hey, some of us got our, little sack of rocks to drag along, and others have a big log to carry. You never know. Was that his nose, or was he eating a banana? Bobby Bag of Donuts back. Okay, so I guess your nose best. His nose didn't compare to his impact. Guys, yeah. Joey Aiuppa. Anyway, back to Tony Spilotro.
I remember seeing some footage of Joey Aiuppa when he was on the street and he charged the camera. And John Drummond said, we give him, the senior citizens, we give them an A, and because he knocked my cameraman down.
Wow.
And he was about maybe 70 years old at that time.
Michael Levere, does anyone know the barber in Elmwood Park that cut Pete and Johnny's hair? Pete, is that Johnny DeFranzo? Is he talking about? Johnny?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. The C Notes, which was on Grand Avenue, was an old street gang. But in later years, when I was a copper in that area, became mostly a Hispanic gang.
Yes.
So the C Notes kind of evolved into more of an Hispanic gang from, was it mainly Italian?
When I was there, it was all Italian. When I was there, and I believe Albie was part of it. Albie Vienna, he was part of it. And there were some other people that you mentioned earlier, and I know they were definitely part of it. They stopped me in the neighborhood. I did a video about it. When I first came into the neighborhood, they didn't know who I was. The younger people didn't know who I was. So I had pulled into 613 Racine, which was an alley that went back, and a driveway also to Philomanos' home. And Dick Hoyt lived back there, and Elwood Johnson Rogers lived back there, and two separate apartments. There was a garage underneath it. And they cornered me. They pulled in behind me, and a car pulled in front of me, and they got out with baseball bats. They wanted to see. They wanted to keep the neighborhood the way they wanted. They didn't want any undesirables in the neighborhood. And luckily, Philly Kozo was there, and he said, "Oh, my dad knows him. He's okay." They got back in the car, and disappeared.
Jesus. It's a way to run the neighborhood. So Misty's saying the barber was Vince Mostamero. Misty said that I was best friends with his son Sammy in grammar school. So I guess that's the barber that you're looking for, Mike Levere. And yeah, I guess that it is Johnny DeFranzo. Mike Levere said, yeah.
Interesting question here.
Yeah, put it up. Let's read it. Mr. Red, do any of the mob hitmen feel remorse over killing, or do they regard it all as just business? Neil Jones.
It's just business. None of those guys ever felt remorse over anything. I don't care if it was their best friend that they stole with. They never felt any remorse at all. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Somebody else always gave the order.
You know, I asked Frank Collada that several times, and I asked him because I thought maybe that the answer would change, which it never did, because the answer is always no. It's like he said, it's like being a soldier. If you got to go across the field and drop a grenade in the foxhole, and that's what you're told to do, then you go over there and you drop it in there. Because if not, then they're going to come over and drop it in yours. So you either do what you're told or you end up dead. So he said he didn't have remorse for that, and for all the stealing and stuff too. He said that he didn't feel bad. The insurance company took care of everybody. So that's the thought that at least that Frank Collada said to me. So I guess that's how he processed it. You know,
all the guys that I talked to had the same attitude.
Yeah, guys, be sure to hit the like button if you're just coming in, and if you're new here and you like listening to Vegas mob Chicago outfit history, be sure to hit the prescribe button down below. I know you guys probably call it subscribe, but over here it's prescribe. So
I've never seen Matt in here before. Matt, 73 in Winnipeg, Canada.
Matt Godds, he's our Canadian friend. Yes, we
Right.
made a bunch of Canadian jokes at him the other day, and that's I guess inappropriate. Now you're not supposed to laugh at things, you know.
Okay. I won't laugh.
Right.
I won't laugh.
So let's stay on track here. Tony Spilotro and Frank Collada grew up together, and you knew Tony Spilotro as well, but at a kind of a different level. And he was part of that Grand Avenue crew as well, right?
That is correct.
Now, how did you meet Tony Spilotro?
I met him first at American Bonding, and
Okay.
that was way before he got into the Teamsters loan. When they took the Teamsters loan, they got a, what do you call it? A finder's fee, 1.4 million or something like that. So they invested in different things, and one of the things they invested in was Taney Seiffert's factory. Phil was there at the time, but Tony and I liked you. I took a liking to him. I was kind of quiet, and I kind of was very respectful, minded my own business. And later we became very good friends. Whenever he came to Chicago, after he went out west in 71, he would stop by my home. He was the only guy that would stop by my home without calling first. All the other guys would say, "Is it okay to stop by? Do you have any policemen there, any judges, anybody I don't want to run into?" And Tony wouldn't. He'd just pop in. On his way from O'Hare Airport going down towards Chicago, he would just pop in. There was a place called Harris's Restaurant on the corner of Kedzie and Irving Park. And he would park someplace over there and walk like 3-4 blocks to get to my house. But it was usually dark out. You know, it was after the sunset. And when the doorbell rang, I didn't know who it was. So we'd have a few scotches, talk, laugh. We never talked about any business. He would ask me occasionally, "How's business going?" I'd say, "Okay," but we'd never talk any details about anything. We just rapped and drank a few scotches. That's all.
Nice.
Talked about women mostly.
You know, Frank said that he liked to chase the women around. Tony said that he was, I think Frank's words were man whore. That he
Yeah.
couldn't fit in his pants.
That's
That
a
he
good
was
definition.
constantly chasing women around and getting
That's a
in trouble too.
That's a good
Well, he
definition.
slept with Jerry McGee, Lefty's wife.
Well, that's a famous one, but I'm sure there's a lot of them.
Well, Frank told a story when
If
he
he
had the
put
girl
it-
hiding up in the Gold Rush jewelry store up in the attic out here in Vegas.
If he put a notch in his bedpost for every woman that he knew biblically, there wouldn't be any bedposts. There'd be no headboard. He got around.
He was worse than Gianni Russo. Gianni was sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. You know,
Right, at 16.
Virginity, to her.
Yeah.
Guy.
Johnny talks about it. Tony was the real thing.
Phil Carone, how often would Tony go back to Chicago?
He popped in by me on Richmond. When I lived on Richmond, he popped in maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So it was kind of a surprise every time. But I don't think there was a set pattern, where he had a set pattern when he would come back. It was just when he felt like it. Or maybe they had business. I don't know. We never talked about it. It was one of those things we just never talked about. He stayed till about midnight or so, and he'd leave. He lived in Oak Park, so he would, probably go over to Oak Park. Or maybe he had a meeting downtown. I don't know.
To Tony, not off subject, but Tony's father, Pasquale, his store or restaurant, Patsy's, is now a beauty shop. Yeah, right there, Grant and Ogden. If you guys look on the maps here, you'll see it. Turn it into a beauty shop. Yeah. American Pale, Keith Helton's asking about. American Pale has something to do with this Barbara McNear, Red?
I don't know. Something plastic pale out in Deming, New Mexico had to do with Danny Seifert when Danny was alive.
So
they had pails. They used to make pails.
You told me a story. About the big woman at the car dealership.
Yeah. No, she wasn't at the car dealership. She was at TRW Credit. And
okay.
I'd gone in there one day because my credit was messed up. It was mixed up with my dad's, and I had good credit. He filed bankruptcy, right? Uh-huh. And so I went in to straighten something out, and they had to key the door. It was all glass front on the building, but the door was keyed on both sides. So she opened the door, let me in, and then locked the door behind me. And I wouldn't fill out everything on this form. You know how credit companies are. They want to know what you had for breakfast, man. They want to know everything. The only thing I would put down is my social security number, my date of birth, where I lived, things like that, the generic stuff. Well, they wanted the whole stuff. It was on a clipboard. She said, fill this out, and then I'll talk to you. Well, I gave it back to her, and we had an argument. She said, well, this isn't filled out. And I said, well, this is all you're going to get, And then we had an argument where I said, who runs this place? And she said, I do. I'm the district manager. And she was a very large woman. And when I say large, she was as tall as you are, Adam.
Oh, come on. No, there's no woman as tall as me, okay?
She belonged in the circus, man.
6'5", Red.
She was big. She way over me.
Okay.
Way over me. She picked me up. I was wearing a suit, and she picked me up by the collars on the suit and held me up against the wall, and she's calling for somebody out of the back room. I grabbed her wrists, and I was trying to pull her arms away. And then finally, when I got loose, I threw a desk that they had there, like a school desk, where you sit down, and threw it through the window because she wouldn't unlock the door, and then left. And it turned out that she was the wife of Hershey Silver, who owned Barron's Lincoln Mercury, where I bought my cars. And so I wound up getting a call from them. Al Bianca called me.
She had you against the wall like that, Red?
Oh, yeah. Picked me right off the ground. I mean, she picked me right off and I weighed about 200 pounds then.
There's people spend a lot of money to come out here to Las Vegas, and they pay a lot of money for that kind of treatment from a woman. It's legal too. It's legal, right?
I was not having it. It wasn't my. I didn't go there for that,
So what'd you do? Brett didn't go there for that.
No,
I
went home.
I
went shopping. I think I went to Woodfield Mall and went shopping, and then I went home. Later in the evening, it was maybe, I'd say 7 o'clock. It was dark, It was 7 o'clock at night. I get a phone call, and it was on my private line, and it was Al Bianca. And he said, "Where'd you go today?" And I said, "I was out." He didn't say his name. He just said, yeah, I could tell who he was. And I said, "I was out." And he said, "Where'd you go?" And I said, "Shopping." And he said, "What else happened today?" He's being real authoritative, right? And he always used to drop his uncle's name. He used to say, "I'm JC's nephew." So Jackie Cerrone. So I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So he says, "You better get over here and straighten this out." And I said, "No way. I'm not coming down there. You want to see me? Come and see me. Do whatever you got to do. Goodbye." Hung up. I'm pacing the floor back and forth to say if that no good. I got a bad attitude. The doorbell rings and it's Tony. He walks in, and I wasn't paying that much attention to him really. And he said, what's bugging you? What's on your mind?" And so I told him. He said, "Come on, let's get in the car." He said, "Let's go for a ride." He said, "We'll go over there. I'll go over there with you." And I said, "Okay." We got in the car. We went over there. He told me to look around the showroom. He went back, talked to the owner. Al Bianca approached me and said, he was the finance manager. He approached me and he said, "You want to have a drink with me?" And I said, "No, not after the way you talked to me on the phone. No way." And so what pursued after that was Tony came out and he said, "Go talk to the owner." So I went back and this guy begged me. He was like out of the circus too. He was probably 350 pounds at least and had to be about 5'6" or 5'7". He was short and squat and she was tall and big.
Jeez.
I always said they looked like the hot dog and the hamburger.
Well, he's short. She's tall.
Huge.
So when they're toe to toe, his nose is in, and when they're nose to nose,
He was probably in a naval position when he's toe to toe with her. But anyway, what happened was he told at the time when I was supposed to be, he told me to just walk around the showroom when he was back there. So we settled. The guy begged me. He said, at first he said, "Do me a favor." He said, "We're both with the same people." And I kind of meant that to mean he was probably paying protection. Mm-hmm. But he said, "Do me a favor." And he said, "Talk to my wife and apologize to her." And I said, "No way. I'm not apologizing to your wife." And I finally relented. I just did. The guy felt so bad. He said, "Please," he was almost begging me. Yeah. So his wife comes through the door. Evidently called her and said, "He's down here." She comes through the door and they had called the police. They had my license plate number, made a police report on me and everything else. Nothing ever happened. But at any rate, she comes in and she's screaming at me as she's talking to me. And I walked up to her and she said, "Look what you did to my arms. They had bruises on them." And I said, "That's because you're holding me." So finally she settled down. And I said, "Look, I'm sorry I hurt you. If I hurt you, I didn't mean to hurt you." And she became very passive and easygoing and said, "In the future, if you have a problem with your credit, just give us a call. I'll take care of it personally. Whatever it is, just tell me. I'll erase it, do whatever I have to do. I'll take it on the phone," which is unheard of. So we all were happy and everybody was going their own way. She left and Tony was walking around with me. He said, "What do you think of that? What are you looking at that car for?" And I said, "It's a nice looking car. I just bought a Mark IV." Mm-hmm. And I said, "But this is a town car, and there's a lot more room in the back seat on a town car." And I was, making point of that. And I was looking at it. Nice car, decked out, loaded. Tony looks at it and says, "You like it?" And I said, "Yeah, I like it, but I already got 3 cars. I mean, what do I need another car for?" And so he says, "Do you like it?" And I said, "Yeah, I do like it. It's a nice car. It's fancy. It's a nice car." And he said, "Good." He calls the owner. He says, "Write it up." He said, "Write that car up. We're taking it with us." And the owner's real happy and everything. He writes it up and everything. And the paperwork, and we're walking around. Al Bianca comes over to me when Tony was talking to Hershey Silver, and he comes over. He said, "Have a drink with me." And I went by his office, and when I got to his office, he opens up a drawer on his desk, and he was reaching in the drawer, and I said, "You better not be pulling out a pistol." And he said, "No. And he pulls out a bottle of scotch and a couple glasses. So I had a drink with him. He asked me, he said, "Am I in trouble?" And I said, "I don't know. Ask him. Don't ask me." I said, don't ask me if you got a hard time. So we get out, and they open up these big glass doors because Tony said we're taking the car with us, right?
Yeah.
And then he turns around as he's just getting ready to do it, and they're making all these guys that were working there. Like there's only 3 left. The salesman ran. I mean, they just got out of there.
Right.
But this is like close to 10 o'clock at night, and Tony looks over at Hershey Silver. And he said, "Put it on my tab." And the face came from a big smile to a drawn face. I mean, Hershey looked at it and said, "On your tab?" You know, and he said, "Yeah, put it on my tab." And he said, "While you're at it, title it in his name," meaning my name.
Yeah.
And so we got in the car and drove it home. He drove one car, I drove the other one home.
Joe Collada. Joe Collada said that Michael met Conrad through Larry Minetti. Michael Spilotro
Yes.
did.
Yes, he did.
So Tony's brother Michael, he also ended up on an episode of Magnum PI, playing a federal agent in an episode.
Several. He played a couple episodes that I remember. I used to see him at the Bird's Nest on Wall Street. They all used Bob Conrad, Billy Kent owned the place. Schweiss used to hang out in there. All those guys used to hang out in there. I used to see what's the other guy? Don Johnson used to go in there. Sullick was in there a lot.
Miami Vice, Don Johnson, Eke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. JW, did Tony shake your hand when he met you, or did he give you an Italian hug?
He only hugged me a few times, but most of the time it was like he grabbed my hand. If I can do this right. He'd grab my hand and shake it, but he'd grab his other hand and put it on my arm. When he'd shake my hand.
Arm shake, yeah. It's like the yeah.
How you doing?
It's an endearing thing when you grab somebody's arm as well. It's like an endearing. It's like putting your hand around theirs as you shake.
A casual handshake is just a handshake. When somebody grabs your arm, and that means it's like
body
I like you well.
Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Smash it. Brett Scher is reminding everyone. What influence did Aiuppa have over the Grand Avenue crew? His influence over the outfit and the Grand Avenue crew. That question came up. I started here, but I don't see. Here it is.
He was the boss. He was out in Cicero, but he was the boss. Joey Lombardo reported to him.
Okay.
So, or if he needed something, he had to go to him for the okay. Just like any other crew would have to go to him for the okay.
And after Aiuppa, then Lombardo stepped up?
No, he was in prison.
After Aiuppa? No?
Right. Okay. Joe Ferriola.
Okay, so Chain Weaver, you're late again. Dinger was a great guy. Dinger. Jerry Carusillo had a brother Dickie who was a Melrose Park cop.
Doesn't know.
I don't know if that's the Dinger we're talking about here. Sorry, I got a little behind in the comments, guys. From John Ramsey, remember, Red, always get a car wash with a lot of trunk space in case you need it.
That's what we used to talk about.
Sorry, not a car wash, a car with a lot of trunk space.
That's what we used to laugh about with the Lincolns, because you open up the back trunk of the Lincoln, we used to say that's a 2-body trunk.
I remember as a kid, my uncle opening a tray. You could fit at least 3 bodies in here. Oh, it's a nice sized trunk, you know. You get at least 3 guys in there. Pretty sure.
Matt asked a question here.
Yeah, was the car ever paid for, Red? Yeah,
I don't know. I got the title. I got the plates in the mail and everything. I don't know if it was ever paid for.
Michael Graham said, I'm pretty sure put it on my tab meant Tony never did pay for the car, at least not with cash, right?
You got that right.
Michael Lavere, it depends on how you stack them, you know, in the trunk. It is.
Squish another one in there.
Somebody asked if there's any more bodies showing up in Lake Mead. Not yet, but the water's still going down. So, you know, you never know. Could be some more bodies showing up. By the way, guys, if you do come out here to Las Vegas to go maybe take a boat ride around and look for some bodies, be sure to take the Vegas Mob Tour. The Vegas Mob Tour is open. It is up and running, and it's a lot of fun. Join us for the Vegas Mob Tour. Experience Sin City's dark past. Learn how Bugsy Siegel built the Flamingo. Find out who killed him and why. Hear who Jimmy Hoffa supplied money to back in the 50s. Visit the actual home used in the 1995 blockbuster movie Casino, and other filming locations as well. See the real jewelry store where Frank Collada and his crew were busted. Sit in the exact spot where Frank Lefty Rosenthal's car was bombed back in '82. View never before seen footage of Frank Collada telling personal stories about Tony Spilotro, Joey the Clown Lombardo, and the Hole in the Wall gang.
This house here used to be Tony's house. It's almost like a peach color. It was brown then. The only thing changed is the driveway.
Let us make an offer you can't refuse. Upgrade to our Untouchables experience. Following the tour, you'll enjoy a 3-course Italian dinner in the Tuscany Gardens, and then VIP seating to the award-winning Rat Pack is Back show. Enjoy Vegas the way it was meant to be.
It's a great tour. It's a great tour. And
You know what-
it's fabulous tours. When I was out in Vegas, he took me around, took me on the tours. We went and saw the casino house, and the owner actually let us sit in the back. We filmed in the back.
Yeah, we did. We did get to go around back and see the pool and where they landed the airplane on the golf course and all of that. It was a lot of fun. So
And I thought it was interesting because from the movie Casino, you did fact and fiction. You changed the plane was put there in the golf course. You know,
Yeah.
it's a dummy plane and everything else, but it really didn't land. It wasn't like it was in the movie Casino.
Oh, it didn't happen like in the movie. They had to dip it into a water obstacle in real life. They were going down the freeway or the fairway just fine, and the golf cart pulled out in front of them. They had to dip it into a water obstacle. And then the new owners of the golf course a few years ago, they went and got a replica Cessna, same type of plane, and they put the same tail number on it, and they went out to the golf course and they stuck it out in the pond exactly how it was in the movie. And they even put a big bronze placard out there on the golf course so that everybody who plays through would be able to see it. So hold on for the comments for just a second, Red. The plane. There's a picture of it in the golf course. Take a look at the screen. There's the bronze plaque. There's the plane out on the golf course. That's what it looks like today. And I'm sure everybody that plays through stands there and goes, $100, whoever can hit the plane. Right? Come on. You know that happens. It's got to, right? I wouldn't be able to resist, So
There's got to be a lot of golf balls in that water.
Greg Polly, homeowner, gave Adam a fat pineapple on my tour. I remember that, Greg. Yeah, Sharon. So the owners of the house where the movie Casino was filmed, they kind of adopted me over the last 17 years. And they come out when we pull up and they'll, how you doing? And Sherry will bring out food and go, take this home to your wife. And that day she brought out a big pineapple and gave it to me to take home.
Very nice,
guys,
folks. Very nice,
Look at the
folks.
bottom of the screen. If you come out here, use the promo code MobVlog. Go to VegasSpecialtyTours.com and check it out. Misty Robka even says the tour rocks. When your brother and sister come out, you're going to take them on the tour. I can't wait to have you on the tour again and meet your brother and sister. That's awesome, Misty. So guys, Bobby Bag of Donuts. He was on the tour too. Take it. You'll remember it forever, and it gets better every time. Every time I do it, I make changes. Isn't it right, Red? I'm always telling you, I updated this, I added that, always making it better. Now I even have music beds that play in certain parts of the tour. What tour has a soundtrack to it, Come on.
Yours.
Yeah, why not, right?
I've never taken a tour with soundtrack except yours.
So we're going to wrap up here shortly, guys. This has been one hell of a great afternoon. Been a lot of fun. Matt Gods, do you drive the bus? Yes. And but before we go here on this last few minutes, I want to ask you about two people, Marshall Caifano and Jimmy Coutura. So Marshall Caifano, you knew him, and he was part of the Grand Avenue crew. He was Tony Spilotro's replacement out here in Las Vegas. Can you explain to me how that occurred and what Marshall's role was?
He wasn't.
And then what happened to him when
Spilotro was his replacement. Tony
replaced
Marshall. Marshall went to prison in
1964,
and he got out in 1974, and he came back to Chicago. He was very close to his wife was with Sam Giancana, so he thought he would have it made when he got back to Chicago. Well, guess what? He was out of power. He was down in Mexico at the time, so they put him with Joey Lombardo, and then Joey put him with me, and his cohort, Alvin Johnson Rogers, and basically we spent a lot of time together. We used to go to the Oak Tree on Russian Oak. We did a lot of restaurant things together and drove around. Actually, that's how I met Tony Pelicano, was through him. So we just rode around together. I did a funny story about they were at my store one time, and we were in my office, and it was funny because next door we didn't know, it's kind of soundproof, but we didn't know, but there was a bombing that was occurred next door, and they had Channel 2 Eyewitness News and lights lit up out there. Other news agencies were out there, and I just creaked the door open, and we saw the bright lights, and it was dark out. It was evening time, and so he said, "Oh man, they last place they wanted to be where there was a bombing, right?" And so Marshall said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "My car's because their car was out in the street, right past the cameraman." And so I said, "We'll take my car. It's in the garage, in the back, in the alley." So I pulled my car out. They got in. Everybody got in. And I'm driving down the street. I get to Schiller in the alley at Schiller. And the alley was between Wells and Clark. And I stopped. And when I did, the police officer stopped me, and he asked for my driver's license. He said, "What are you doing back here?" And I said, "I own some real estate over here. I own some buildings." And he said, "Oh," and I said, "I also own the bookstore," because that's what we call it, a bookstore. And so he got on his radio, and he called into the sergeant, and the sergeant, he said, "Yeah, that's Red." He said, "Don't worry about him. He's okay." And so he looked in the back seat, and he said, "Who's these other guys?" And I said, "Oh, they're friends of mine." We left there, and we zipped over to Richard Cafano's condo, which is in Sandburg Village, right behind us.
Right.
And we stayed there and laid low for like 4, 5, 6 hours. After all the camera crews were gone, we went back and got their cars. I dropped them off, and I went home.
Wow.
Marshall was scared to death. He really was. And as far as Jimmy Coutura goes, Jimmy I met through Kurt Hansen, because Kurt had to go to Jimmy for anything. I mean, if he wanted the approval on anything, that was his guy. He was part of that crew, which was the South Side. And when we wanted to do the porn shop, he brought it to Jimmy Coutura, and Jimmy Coutura says, "No." He said, "I can't do that." He said, "Go see Joey. He's a good boy. He'll take care of you." He spoke broken English.
Yeah.
Jimmy was a nice guy. I liked Jimmy. Nice family. He had his. He lived in Oak Lawn, but he had his children. Everybody was on the block. Their houses were all like right next door to each other on the street. I believe that was Kilbourne where he lived. And Oak.
Where the families all grouped together back then. So different. Guys, we have an after party. We're going to be talking on Red's channel for a little while. We're going to be starting that in a few minutes if you guys want to look in the description down below. And also, if you guys are interested, we do have the Vegas Mob Tour guns. And
I was going to say, don't forget that little gun.
guns. Yeah, you guys can get the guns. They're available now. They're at mobmento.com. Mobmento.
It's a USB port on there. You just plug it in your
little USB. Boom, comes off. You get movies on there. There's the Las Vegas Mobster. There's Frank Collada's first interview. Collada is on there.
There's a lot on there.
It's got some extras. It's good. Go to mobmento.com.
How much are they?
On Blu-ray disc if you guys still have Blu-ray players. I don't know if you do. Barnyard might have one in Kentucky.
How much are they, Adam?
They're $40.
Oh,
and
man,
that's
worth
with
it.
shipping and everything. So, but hey, guys, it's been fun. Red, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I'm going to see you in a few minutes over on your channel. I appreciate you spending your afternoon and some time here on Mob Vlog. Good to see you, Red. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless everybody.